Imagine that a great white shark is swimming close to you. What are your feelings? The terrifying jaws will probably send goosebumps up your arms. Brilliant sensations and a slight adrenaline surge from walking and wading underwater will be exciting for everyone interested in such a marine adventure. In the programme Generation UA, you will get acquainted with fanatic admirers of the extraordinary beauties of the underwater world, namely Ukrainian scuba divers. Scuba diving opens one's eyes to the fantastic underwater world. Diving for me is a way of life, even a state of mind. I really enjoy the sense of weightlessness, which you get while snorkeling under the water. First of all, diving is an active form of sport which gives you a chance to enjoy the beauty of the underwater world and discover a new hobby. Of course, it is not easy, but more and more people are taking interest in this rather peculiar form of entertainment and sport all through the amazing underwater world. The world-renowned French oceanographer Jacques-Yves Cousteau and his companion Émile Gagnan created the aqualung, better known in modern-day terminology as scuba, the self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, hence the term scuba diving. This is actually a quarry located near the city of Krostyshev in the Zhytomyr Oblast, rightfully named the Krostyshev Quarry. This interesting place and its picturesque views attract tourists both above and under the water. This is where we will plunge our viewers into the majestic underwater world of diving. I have been engaged in diving for about 15 years. I got my first certificate of an open water diver in 2002, but the first dive I made was sometime in the early years of 2000 or 2001, together with my father. Actually, I started engaging in this fantastic sport thanks to my father, who himself is a diver.
Сегодня, мне кажется, особенно в Украине, он набирает все большую и большую популярность.
Today, I think that diving, especially in Ukraine, is gaining more and more popularity. You must be aware of the fact that diving is not a cheap form of active rest or relaxation. Earlier, not everyone could afford it. Nowadays, young people in Ukraine are quite mentally developed, physically adept, and earn enough money to spend it on these active forms of recreation sports.
Активные виды спорта, отдыха, которые раньше не были столь, скажем так, популярны.
I started diving 3 years ago. I wanted to open up something new in my ordinary everyday life. To be quite honest, I am by nature a very active person, and I always took a great interest in sports, the likes of tennis and skiing. In fact, I tried out a lot of different kinds of sports until I found the one that I enjoyed the most. My close friend has been diving for quite some time. I would say probably around 10 years. I consulted her about engaging in this sport, and she has also been fond of it for quite a long time, and I simply wanted to try it out for myself to see whether I liked it or not. In March, my friend decided to travel to the Maldives to take part in an underwater diving safari.
Где оставалось по большой случайности одно свободное место, и я прыгнула, считайте, в последний вагон. Меньше чем за 2 недели я прошла обучение и вот отправилась в мое первое такой дайвинг экспириенс.
The first diving instructors appeared in Ukraine in the late 1990s. At that time, this industry was not just underdeveloped, it was just beginning to sprout and then flourish. The first courses for the preparation of amateur divers were held in the first years of the 21st century. One of the first diving centers in Ukraine was founded in the Palace of Underwater Sports and today continues to successfully function. Today, there are more than 30 such diving centers in Ukraine. Today, a huge number of people are absolutely fascinated by scuba diving. Hundreds of learning institutions are working in this sphere all over the world. For example, the US Association PADI, Professional Association of Diving Instructors, has more than 150,000 instructors and more than 5,000 diving centers in different parts of the world. More than 1 million people go through the courses offered by these professional diving schools every year. There are many forms of diving. Scuba diving is one of the most popular forms. There is freestyle diving, a dive in which you hold your breath, or you can practice a different form known as techno diving. For beginners who have only recently learned to swim and are afraid of the underwater world, there is snorkeling. This is where people can simply float above the surface of the water wearing a mask and breathing through a tube fixed to a mask, which is called a snorkel, hence the term snorkeling. There is a story about how divers traveled to Egypt to go on a diving safari. This entails diving into the sea or lakes from a yacht. Young people live in this safari for a week. On the border of Egypt with Sudan, there is a cove in which approximately 70 dolphins live. In fact, this is a place where we are engaged in snorkeling. It is very interesting to first find these coves by wading in small boats and then plunge into the water and swim together with these beautiful and intelligent members of the underwater marine world, wearing a mask and breathing through a snorkel.
За последние 3 года мы объехали, в принципе, немало.
Over the past 3 years, we have traveled quite a bit. We visited Egypt, the Maldives, and the Sipadan island. It is called the Island of Turtles and is totally uninhabited. If you want to see these beautiful turtles, you need to go there, because there are tons of them. All the turtles are chip-marked and have a ring on their paws. You can see dozens of these turtles in one diving session. This place is famous for its natural phenomenon, known as the barracuda tornado. This is when thousands of barracudas gather in one flock and they spin into a funnel or maelstrom, thus creating a tornado that is anywhere from 10 to 120 meters in height. Many people visit South Africa because of the incredible number of animals that live there, and you can see them in their natural habitat. Many people typically go to South Africa to see the vast number of sharks living off the coast. They are indeed huge in number and in size. In fact, people that have no connection with diving and have never plunged into this underwater world are afraid of sharks. But in fact, there is nothing to be afraid of. We even have a stunning video that we call Shark Soup. It simply shows the fins of sharks. This is how they swarm, and then, believe it or not, they are in total ecstasy. Wow, wow. And then everybody jumps into the water where all those sharks are swimming around and round. Of course, there were some unpleasant incidents related to diving. One of the divers, being fond of underwater photo-video shooting at the end of the dive, started taking photos. When we returned to the safety stop and we were in suspended animation for 3 minutes and 5 meters away, a cuttlefish began twisting around, and seeing as the person was a compulsive photographer, he started crawling closer to the shark. Everybody knows that when you see a shark, you better keep it in sight, and it is better not to come close to to it. The first time, the shark shielded away from the cameraman, and the second time didn't want him to take a photo. The third time, the shark turned around and either accidentally or deliberately touched his shoulder. Needless to say, the camera operator was very frightened to death and began bleeding. When he pulled himself out of the water, his diving suit was cut as if by razor blades. The scars from the shark's laceration by its razor-sharp teeth still remain on his body to this very day. All training organizations throughout the entire world are rigidly standardized. All methods and training of divers are written in details. A diver must read a textbook at the beginning of the course for self-education, so to speak. After that, a diver goes to the diving center to attend theoretical classes under the tutelage of a professional diving instructor, which precedes a diving session in the swimming pool. The next stage is practice diving in a swimming pool. The course ends with students diving in open-air water areas such as lakes.
На самом деле обучение можно пройти в сжатые сроки.
In fact, you can pass training in a week, or you can attend them for a more convenient period of 10 days. A 2-week session will be sufficient. The first 2 classes are the most emotional. I'm not shy and never had a fear of water. I had no fear of diving at all. There were some moments where it didn't turn out right away, because it was a completely different and new environment for me, with different sensations. It is the feeling of weightlessness. In order to rid yourself of this fear, all you need to do is to learn how to control your body and how to breathe properly, meaning controlling your lungs.
То есть это ощущение невесомости, и тебе нужно научиться контролировать свое тело, свои легкие.
This is an absolutely safe occupation if you learn how to monitor the air depth and other parameters. The most interesting places for diving in Ukraine are Crimea and a number of different quarries across the country. They can be different, large and small. The temperature at the depth of the quarry all year round is the same, +2 and +4 degrees. There is one more interesting place at the Dniester River, called the Bakota Reservoir. Last year I had the fantastic opportunity to go diving there, and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. Diving is such a cool hobby which unites people in spirit and with common interests. We happily meet each other with joy. We all travel with joy and seek new emotions and sensations from adventures, discoveries and travel. It is truly a wonderful way to spend your leisure time and enjoy all the beauties of nature, especially in the amazing aquatic world.